Troops, here we are. We're live. Another epic guest found from the very depths of social media, from Instagram. Only the alleyest of the alley. And I believe I found the alleyest man with the greatest cover photo I've ever seen. If I didn't have a missus, I'd have sent him some nudes.
More than welcome
to. Sean from the Social Commando. Sean, how you doing, my mate?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
No, brilliant. Brilliant to have you on. I sort of scour social media looking for people to bring on the podcast. Not just any sort of Tom, Dick and Harry. I had a good look at your profile and I thought, somewhere along the line, this guy here has had corned beef ash in the field somewhere at 4:30 in the morning, and he's on brand. Interesting story. You served in the army. How long did you do, and what unit did you serve with?
So I was in my 7th, going to my 8th year when I got out, and most of that time spent with 29 Commando, Royal Artillery.
Plymouth.
Still consider myself part of the crew. Yeah. So I was part of the one of the Plymouth batteries.
Cool. Which battery?
2-3. So 2-3 headquarters. So we got some of the cushy gigs, but more often than not, we just got a load of shit off the other lads.
Yeah, HQ batteries normally do, don't they? But hey, you all have to earn the berry the same way, regardless of what you do after that. It's a gig. Where are you from in the UK?
I'm from up north. I float around. Currently, just north of Sheffield, in between Sheffield and Leeds, but
right.
Burnley in Lancashire.
Yeah, nice part.
We'll have a mix of accents going on here.
Yeah, fair play. And how did you find it living down on the coast down in Plymouth? Plymouth's a beautiful place. I've been there myself. How did you find it living? It's
bad for having a car. We were in the Citadel, lived right on the seafront, so you're constantly covered in salt spray and things.
Yeah.
But no, it was spot on. All my mates went to uni.
Yeah.
Then I made the decision to join the army. Questionable decision sometimes, but no, it seemed to work out fine. But I said when we were on a tour or away on exercise, it was like being a student with a good paycheck.
Yeah.
We had God knows how many bars on his doorstep in Plymouth, and that the only problem I had is that no one understood what I was saying. Or ordering stuff, so I had an accent which I sort of carried on a bit more. Now that I moved back up north, starting to get a bit more broad. But yeah, it was spot on, and it opened me up to city life, but not quite, London, Manchester type city. It's its own little world is Plymouth, but yeah.
Hey, was Willie Luscombe still there when you were there?
He was, yeah. Yeah, grumpily opening the back gate and whinging when you wanted to drive a Land Rover out of it.
Yeah, he's almost as important as the other. Sam, I met Willie Luscombe. Like he had DITS for days. That guy, like he was.
DITS longer than his mustache.
Yeah, he fought them on D-Day, didn't he? I was like, fucking hell, fair one. Well, you don't look old enough, like, but fair play to you. Must have been a hell of a shift. On your army career, how did you find it when you sort of wanted to know you were going to leave? Did you know what you wanted to do? Or were you one of the many blokes that was going to go out and get offshore and be on 90 grand a year doing 4 on 75 off, tax-free wind farms?
It was 2012, 2009 and 2012 when I started looking at leaving. Mm-hmm. And before that, obviously everyone had got out and done CP work. Everyone was out in Iraq and that's where money were. And it started to die down. And then, the big unicorn, shiny thing everyone went for then were maritime security.
Yeah.
And really thought they were the only options. It was maritime security, laying fibre optic cable in the Middle East somewhere.
Yeah.
Going into cybersecurity with like the comms background. So
yeah.
I didn't have a clue. I just started applying for things and thought I was going to get into some programs. One of them with a big company, I'll say who they are. With Apple, I got onto a management program with them, and in the final interview, they said, "Oh, actually, you don't have a degree, so you've passed everything, but you need a degree to do this." So I was just like, "Well, you know what? You can go swivel then, because if it's a bit of paper that's going to set me aside, then I'm not interested."
Did you say? Hang on a minute. Have you ever done the 30 miler across Dartmoor? Never mind. Never mind.
I probably did. Was still like spinning some bits back then and hitting them with some stories, pull up a sandbag, but. No, I just thought, you know what? I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm just gonna move on and look at the next thing.
Yeah, fair play. How did you find I get a lot of ex-soldiers on here, Marines, etc., and we always talk about the resettlement process. I always talk about the resettlement process like it's some transformer. Like you get sold this like, oh wow, when you get out, mate, easy, bosh. Yeah. And then when you finally get out, it's like, oh hang on, I've been sold a Mickey here because actually I've just spent the last year and I've not done what I should have been doing. I find the resettlement process, it's a great concept, delivered terribly. Yeah. That's personally how I see it.
It's I thought it was confusing more than all. You get told you've got this money for these courses and etc. etc. So how do you find a course? Well, you've got to confirm your place on the course without confirming your place on the course. Then you've got to go sign a bit of paper. Then someone else has got to do that. Then you've got to find out how much the course costs. Then you've got to do this, and you've not even booked on the course yet. Yeah. So to get anything outside of what they're offering, I just didn't have a clue what was going on. I felt that the some of the programs, workshops they delivered were a bit basic. They were like, oh, just write a CV. I was like, yeah, I've got a CV. I want to make it better. I want to get it to people. How do I write a better cover letter? But those weren't there. There were some programs. God, who was it? FDM Group, I think. Right. They did quite a lot. I saw them more as I got out. But yeah, the resettlement process, I didn't have a clue. And in the end, I settled on a house maintenance course where I learned how to plumb, tile and plaster. Because I thought, at least I can do my house up, if all else goes wrong. Sacked off the tiling because I was shit at it. But actually learned to plaster and was quite good. Found it quite relaxing as well. And decided I was going to be a plasterer for about a month. Yeah. Yeah, never did a single paid gig. So, yeah, as you can tell, that didn't take off.
Yeah, it's, we laugh. But the story you're telling, I've heard it, from guys who I've had on from Veteran on UK, a lot of guys who are starting their own businesses. It's always the same sort of story. I did a 4-week electrician's course and thought I was going to be top boy electrician and realised that no one hires electricians with 4 weeks experience. I feel like the resettlement process is missing a trick. Instead of going to you're aware of Veteran on UK, you've seen the stuff, have you?
Yeah.
Scott Johnson and people like that. And saying, yous are all doing really well in business, and you've got brackets into all these different fields. Could you come in and sort of actually deliver taxation, legislation, insurance, social media training? I mean, that now realistically needs to sort of be somewhere near the forefront, and we'll get on to that. And these, for me, the jobs for the boys, right? The jobs for the boys and that whole culture, that needs to stop. And if the MOD needs to hand it over to, not Capita, because they'll do a shit job. They'll do some pure woke TV advert about it and no one will care. But a proper people in business who are yeah, look, I built these companies, that company, and this is what, I feel like within the army and across the forces, there's a lot of lads and women who are entrepreneurial. Yeah. And that needs to be coached and nurtured, and there needs to be a support network. And I think it won't be long, and maybe there already is, but especially out of the veteran-owned community, there'll be someone sitting, sort of Dragon's Den level soon, because there's some super motivated people, knocking the doors down. So in your sort of journey, what got you into, and we'll go into it now, your social media and your marketing, what got you down that road?
Yeah, complete fluke, to be honest with you. So, I remember, I'm 30, so I remember MySpace and that, and was never really massive on any social media platform. But I grew up with it in a sense. And I was working for a company where we would deliver education programs in schools to disengaged children, gifted and talented, and whole school programs.
Right, cool.
And this was 2016 and 2015. And I was the training manager for the company.
Right.
The director said he just sacked off the guy they brought in to do social media. He said, you know what you're doing. And, we'll chuck a few extra quid your way. Will you do that? Made sense. Just posted on Facebook now and then. So I did that, wrote a few blogs. And then one of the director's friends was an editor at the MEN, Manchester Evening News.
Oh, nice.
And she came in and she said, "Oh, let's go through your web copy." And I was like, what the fuck's web copy? No idea. But she coached me a little bit, and she said, what you're doing actually is spot on.
Right.
So that's how I sort of started dipping my toe into it, getting a bit more familiar with managing social media accounts for a company. And then shortly after, I launched my own company, my first business, Extreme Bean Coffee Company. And
Right.
marketed that myself. I did everything as you do when you start a new company. You're the cleaner, the business development manager, the marketing manager. You do the whole lot. And that's where I learned to really hone in on an audience. I say to people now, if you cast a net when you're fishing far and wide, a big old net, you're going to miss things. They're going to slip through. There'll be gaps. Whereas if you go out with a spear and look for the exact fish you want, you've got a higher chance of spearing it. Spear fishermen don't start shouting at me, telling me it's harder than that. But, there's the analogy. So I went after the fitness space. I started to learn that humour, dark humour, which is what I do, works really well. It connected with my audience, and I didn't have to push a sales message. I just had to build a sense of community. And in the first 3 months, I hit the targets for year 2 that I'd set out in my business plan.
Wow.
And that was just through people wanting to be associated with a brand. And that's where I started to learn about brand positioning and messaging and connecting with your audience.
This is ripped straight from Gary Vee, and I can't take any sort of thingy for it. It's always, for me, it's always jab, jab, hook. Do you know what I mean? So info, and then a crafty I'm doing this event. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the way you sort of go. And as well, you've got to give time to people. Do you know what I mean? Everyone who sort of comes out with me, it's like this: you're either on brand or you're not on brand, and it ain't my fault if you're a biffer. Do you know what I mean? Go and work on your own personal fitness, and then come back to me. And that's the message that I sort of push in if you want to come and be with the Eagles, then come saw with the Eagles. But if you want to bob on the pond with the Ducks, this ain't the place to be doing it. And I've sent many people pictures of Hovis bread with my finger like that. Do you know what I mean? Saying, get down the supermarket. And some people lose their mind over it. But if I can't win you, I can't lose you. That's the way I look at it. Do you know what I mean? And if it takes you longer to find those people who are on brand, I suppose it's like the commando process. If everyone could just turn up and say, there's your green lid, then the quality in the regiment would be, that selection process is there for a reason, to sort of hone out the people who can cut the mustard. And in a way, I've sort of set my own standards like that. But you bang on in what you're saying. I see loads of people trying to be vanilla all the time. Yeah. And it's like, shoot on being vanilla, but no one fucking likes vanilla. Do you know what I mean?
It's one of the things I find, now doing the consulting role for companies. One of the biggest things I'll find is that they don't target a very specific audience. They don't know who their ideal customer avatar is. They don't have a name for them. They don't know the likes, the dislikes, because it's counterintuitive to them, because they think, well, if I target men aged 20 to 25 with an interest in this, who are single, and they get very specific, I'm going to miss the women in that thing. But this is what I say to them, the same with the fishing analogy before, is that you can't go for everybody all the time and speak to them on a level that they connect with. So it's really about, choosing, being a bit disciplined and focusing on one avenue and being niche. It's the biggest thing. I could say that 99% of the work I do starts with that conversation.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. And how does being... I personally struggled working with people, sort of ex-military, ex-army guy. I've got a certain style, do you know what I mean? And maybe as I have toned it down a tad. Yeah. But first of all, I was like, door's gone in, right? It was lofty.
Yeah.
So and it's like, whoa, chill out. But how did you find the transition into sort of that civilian sector?
Well, I had quite a big leap, really, because I went from military on a Friday to starting with this company on the Monday, and the audience that we were talking to were teachers, governors, and children. So it was a massive difference. You know, I couldn't be going in talking about cocks and stuff. I find myself flung out the door. So I went, you know, from one end to the other completely overnight. And then found myself coming back, you know, towards like more central and finding my style. And, you know, then I went in between. I was consulting training for a PT company, you know, training PTs.
Nice.
And I, you know, fell into the habit of being myself, of a lot more straight talking. And I find that a lot of business owners, the level that I work with, are the same. They don't want the bullshit. They aren't afraid to hear, you know, the truth. And it does work. You know, one of the messages I say to people, and, you know, talk about is quite a Chad line, but saying like battlefield lessons in the boardroom. Yeah. If you're on the net trying to call in some artillery and you're just chatting absolute shite, no one's going to know what you're talking about. You've got to go in with the message you want to speak, and you've got to say it plainly and then listen. And I find that people respond really well to that because they like to hear the facts. They like to hear what they want to do and why they've got to do it. So there is a middle ground, but I think part of it is being yourself. If you're not a sweary bloke, don't be a sweary bloke. If you're like me, you're going to tell someone that they're a cockwomble, then, you know, just do it and own it. And, you'll find that you work with the people that respect that.
Yeah, it's a unique attribute. Everyone claims they like to hear the truth until it's like getting, you know, the old point.
Yeah.
And then you say to people like, I remember this year I did an event where I didn't lead it, but I got someone else to lead it because I wanted to just be a punter. But I took all of my gang. Do you know what I mean? And like everyone was like sort of used to me, and like we started on a mooch up in Ben Nevis, and like I hired like a proper lovely guy, cracking ML, top guy, all the rest of it. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is a so and so flower." And one bloke was like, "I ain't fucking come to look at flowers, mate." and I was like, "Told you." They're not interested. They just want to base themselves across this hill. That's it. They're not interested in flowers. They're not interested in what that fucking over there is called. I'm like, they've just come to have a bit of an accountability session over here. And he's like, "I've never known it, John. I've never known people like this." I'm like, because I'm not what you're saying. I said to him, I don't cast a broad net. I go after people who are on brand. And once they get it and they're in, then, you know, and I don't, people will say to me, like, people come out with me. I did it a few weeks ago. Someone went, "Oh, who lives there?" And I was like, "What do I look like? A estate agent?" I was like, it's like, am I supposed to know who lives there? They're like, "Oh, well, it's a big house." I was like, "Yeah, so what?" Like, nosy fund you, aren't you? Go knock on the door. But she was really like, she's not on brand. Do you know what I mean? But now she knows. Nah, that ain't for me over there. Yeah. But the people who were on brand loved it, and afterwards said to me, "Funniest thing I've heard in ages, that John." The way you just were like, "Am I supposed to know who lives there? Don't go around checking people's posts."
Yeah, I mean, I've had when I was doing marketing for my own businesses and that, and, you know, controversy sells. You know, it gets likes, it gets engagement, it gets out to a wider audience. And I've had people come to me and say, "This is offensive, take it down." Yeah, I've just been like, "No, you're not the person I'm selling to." Whereas the person I'm selling to thinks it's funny, they like it, they send it to their mates, and then they're buying me products as well. Yeah. I think people they talk all the time now about this offend culture. Everyone's scared of this and that. But you know what? If you can whinge about it, or you can do something about it, and you can stick to your own message, be true to yourself, and get people on side who are on side. And if they don't like it, they don't like it.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people I see. They just love to play it safe. Do you know what I mean? They just love it. Like, "Oh, we don't know. Should we do this? Should we do that?" Like, and if you do that and it fails, and you think, "Oh, well, it wasn't really me," you'll think to yourself, if I'd have gone 100% in, and it's failed, that's okay because I've done what I set out to do. But if I thought I'd gone in and gone be like super vanilla, no, I don't subscribe to it. Like I got a bit of flack. I do something else like a mindset and accountability course, and I did classic Carter course. Put the door in at like 3:30 and got everyone out of bed, and then we went and did hill reps for an hour. Now in the civilian world, I'll send you the video later. You'll laugh your head off. Red lighted it, door in, right? In the civilian world, no one does that. Yeah. No one even dares do it. right?
Well,
Because
they used to tell us people paid for that. They used to be on the phone.
And the funny thing is, and that's the thing, they actually do. And I completely love it. And I always say to people, if I'm asking you to do it, I'm either doing it with you or I've done it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is how I work. And sort of what I don't like in sort of civilian culture is there's loads of people. I hear I'm an events manager for a 50 miler. What, 50 miler? You must be a bit tasty. Oh, I've never done it. Never done it. Like, I would just sell something you can't do. I can't say, yeah, mate, it's barbaric, but hey, I'll be with you. We'll have a laugh, you know.
Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I was going to say about you sort of, what made you start your own brand and your own company?
I don't know. The answer, but there was something inside me. I knew that I wasn't happy working for somebody else and living by their rules and everything. But you get a degree of flexibility, but you are bound by their rules. None of my family were military. My dad's a farmer. My granddad were a farmer, self-employed. All my family are self-employed. So I grew up with that surrounding me, and that's what I knew. And I knew that I wanted to do something for myself, but for about 2 years, I didn't know what that was. And it was, thinking about this, trialing that, testing the waters here, writing a business plan up for something just to see that it was actually a pile of shit. And there are those, and then the coffee took off. That started as a coffee shop, and that was going to start.
Wow.
Came about from I was getting a tattoo done. I think like a 7-hour sitting that I did, and I was just chatting away to the guy doing it, and he was chatting to one of the other girls working there. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to just like work in your own little shop where you with your mates all day and it doesn't feel like working, which then turned into coffee shop. Realised that was a lot of capital. Went with a coffee van, bought a VW camper.
Nice.
And then from there, it turned into online sales and marketing through there. So just an evolution, really, until that got to the point where I was like, right, this is going to take some serious investment to scale it up now. I don't want to be a self-employed person on 40, 50 grand a year. I want to be turning over 7 figures. And that's not going to happen as quick with this without serious investment. So sacked that off and moved on to the next thing. Just slow evolution, really.
Do you know what? That says a lot about you as a bloke, because a lot of people, they get comfortable. Do you know what I mean? You could have just been, I've got an alley van, I drive out to all these events, I sell awesome coffee. I'm doing good. Like I'll deal. I'll deal on that. Do you know what I mean? But instead, what did you do? Did you sell the brand, or how did you move on with that?
Yeah, so a bit of a complicated one, but it sort of split more into an events company and then an e-commerce company. So we split those. So I still own the event side. Don't really have much to do with the running of it now, but it still attends mainly CrossFit events around the UK. Cool. Events, corporate gigs, and just sells coffee on the spot there. So still kept my fingers in that pie.
Hey, is that where you went after? You went after the CrossFit community? Is that?
That's what it. Yeah, it evolved into that, and because cool. I was starting at a CrossFit gym, God knows when, and I very quickly learned there was this sort of strong community feel. And,
great.
When a brand turned up, they were cool. Everybody bought it. Everybody took pictures of it, and they put it on Instagram. And they tagged the brand, and they wanted to be associated with the brand. Great and move. I saw that there was a market there. I used to joke that there's a company, Hustle Made or something like that. I can't remember it now. Right. But basically, one of these YouTubers, he brought out his brand, big brand now, successful.
Yeah.
I used to say, if I see somebody wearing one of those T-shirts, I can sell them anything.
Yeah, well,
and know that they tie into the brands.
Yeah, no, that's a smart way of doing it. Targeting again, knowing your audience, and trying to just say, "No, I'm going to get." And you're right with CrossFitters. They are like, because they want to be a part of a community. If they didn't, they would just go to a normal gym. Do you know what I mean? But they want to be a part of a community. They want to do things as a community, and like you've said, when you turn up with an awesome brand, they're like, "Oh, Ali, I'll get some I'll get a photo with a coffee cup with me doing deadlifts, and I'll tag the so and so and like whatever.
That's what people used to do. You know, and then it evolved into clothing.
Yeah.
One day I decided, oh fuck it, Christmas is coming up. I'm going to do a clothing launch. Did 2 t-shirt designs, hats, and jumpers, grey sweatshirts with just the logo on. Didn't think many people would buy them. I think I had to have a minimum order quantity of 25, and I was like thinking, oh, I'm going to have to give some away for free because, you know, 10 people are going to buy them. And they flew out. You know, we couldn't keep up with the demand because it had evolved into a brand that people wanted to be associated with. And I'd clocked on to some other brands that had done simple grey sweatshirt designs. I called it a lifting jumper. I wanted to wear it to when they were doing heavy lifts in the gym and it were a bit cold. So yeah, it was a community that responded well to it, as did jiu-jitsu. I got into a few jiu-jitsu events. Yeah. Found that they're very much the same. You know, they have the shared interests, they associate with brands, but I would say that at the time, that jiu-jitsu community was like CrossFit in 2008 when it was just emerging, and there was some brands getting the, you know, a key sort of holding within them. So yeah, we would focus on things like that, and then find the humor, the wording, how people acted with each other in those communities. Same with Strongman, we did that too. And then we would create content that appealed to those people to get them on side, build up the familiarity, and then next thing they're buying.
That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. What do you think? There's some really. Do you know Alex Miller from Tactical T?
I know Tactical T, yeah, but I don't think I know Alex.
All right, Alex is a genius. I've had him on the podcast to talk everything T and beyond. And there's so many great veteran-owned brands, you know, really doing. I mean, I don't see, like, I think it's just every apparel. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait for, like, I think I haven't seen this yet, but I'd love to see, like, Puss's apparel. Like, that'd be, that'd be class.
I think, there's every word you can think of going. You know, one of the companies I work for at the minute, they have an apparel brand along with some other stuff they're doing.
Cool.
And it speaks well to that community. You know, people that are out, they still feel that they've got a sense of belonging to it. You know, they're seeing the old words, you know, pussers, scram, you know, all sorts going on, and then that's it. They want it. It's definitely, it's one of those like niche markets that really works.
I've got, I mean, we throw our hats, don't we, on certain brands through certain loyalties. I know Rob Dennison from 50 Cal Coffee. Rob's a gadget. Obviously Tactical T, Alex, and my pal Smudge Jones, Red Coat Apparel. Have you seen Red Coat Apparel?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he doesn't live too far from me. He's got an awesome shop. He's a gadget. But anyone who's sort of veteran known, I really try to sort of support them and share the stuff. Do you know what I mean? And even lads who do what I do, or in the outdoor world, I'll still share their stuff because I'm not greedy. Do you know what I mean? Like, the cake is big and we can all share.
Yep, definitely.
And I think what a lot of people need to sort of get on brand with is, like, don't be afraid to share your muckers page. Do you know what I mean? I physically can't take every single human being out on the hills. Yeah. You can't sell all the tea in the world, all the apparels in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's how we get a leg over some of the civilian companies, because we're prepared to put ego aside and say, actually, I think what they're doing is really good. I see a lot of, I see a little bit of infighting. Like, not within the veteran community, because I think we're sort of bigger than that. Yeah. But certainly from the civilian brands, and there's a few of them that sort of like try and sort of fuck with me, and I'm like. And I always just say, before we go on this road, can you confirm that you fought the Taliban more than twice? And they're like, no, we've never fought the Taliban. I was like, well, I have fucking twice. So just make sure this is a plan that you want to go ahead with, because fucking I am game. You just say the word. Yeah. And what I've started to do is I've started to book onto rival companies' events under like stupid fucking names. Yeah. And like, I want to turn up and just be like, all of my own Robust Tours gear, and be like, who the fuck's this guy? Do you know what I mean? And I'll be like, right, who's the fucking gadget here? Who's tasty? Do you know what I mean? Like, kick the door in. Do you remember a guy called Gazes? He was the QMSI down at 29 Commando.
It rings a bell.
He,
I can't picture him now though.
he was such. He told stories with his hands and his actions all the time, and I remember sort of being down on a yomp on a tab, and we went past a load of Royal Marines, right? And he went, "Fucking hell, lads! Look at these fucking beefers in the field." And I was just like, "Fucking hell!" Like he just didn't. Do you know what I mean? He just didn't give a fuck. He was like, "I'm the kiddie. I'll take any man, any time of day." And he was shouting, "What are you doing Christmas Day?" And I loved it. I just loved his confidence.
Like what you're saying, that that confidence, that ability that I'm going to go out there, you know, I'll call anyone out and do it. Like, I never used to pay too much attention to what my competitors were doing.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what they're doing to me because my shit's better. And while they're watching Corrie on a night time, I'm going to be planning my next 6-month campaign and leading the way with it. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the lads in the ex-forces community that have businesses are doing. They're doing their thing. They're focusing on it. They're going to call out the bullshit. The companies that aren't doing it, but they're not spending all the time worrying about what they're doing and thinking about it to the missus when they come home. They're just cracking on with their own thing and doing what they want in their own voice, and that's why it's working for them. Yeah,
it's a funny thing. So are you a one-man band or do you have people working for you? Like, how's it growing? How quickly is it growing?
Yeah, so it's gone up and down, you know, with the different things I've done. You know, like with the coffee, we took some people on and then selling some of that off. Then that has people on a part-time basis for the event side. And then like when I started with myself, found that very good at the creative, very good at coming up with ideas that make a lot of money, but not so good at just remembering to like do my tax or, you know, make sure that I finish work on time to go to do something. So I got a virtual assistant on board who helped me with that. And then began outsourcing, taking staff on. So I have staff now who I call myself a generalist. I know good enough about a lot of shit to take businesses from naught to, you know, a lot. But for the technical stuff that's going to take some time and needs a specialist, I have people on my team that do that, whether it be search engine optimization, content writing, graphic design, video, web design. And yeah, we work in a team there. So we're just taking somebody else on at the minute for another big project and expanding steadily. Yeah.
It's I think it's important. I don't know how you do your recruitment for people, but there's a climbing centre near me, and it's got a 20 meter free fall jump. And what I do is, say if I'm going to have a face to face or a business meeting with someone, I'll say, "Oh, do you mind meeting at Rough 59? I'm just sort of doing some admin there. Blah blah blah. The coffee's really good." And they'll turn up, and I'll be there with my harness on, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, what size harness are you?" And they're like, "Why?" I went, "Oh, don't worry about the why. Just get this harness on." And then we go up the tower, mate, and they're like,
"Yeah,
Jesus." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Before we go any further, I need to know that you're on brand." I was like, "So that involves jumping off this tower?" And they're like,
"Yeah,
fucking hell." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go first because end of the day, I brought you up here. I see you at the bottom." And I just jumped straight off the tower. I've done it like 15 times this year. And I've got another guy on Monday coming, and he's like, "I've heard about this thing that you do." I'm like, "It's just rumours, that, mate." He's like, "Oh, well, fucking class."
Wait till he turns up and finds out.
Come Monday. What size harness are you? It's brutal, but what I'm trying to do is, like, if someone just turns around and says, "I'm not doing that," then great. That's the recruitment process. Like, we can't move forward together because I need you to jump off that tower because that's what I'm prepared to do.
That's it. I mean, like, I go over CVs, but I don't really give too much of a shit about them because I'm not asked about what you've done in the past. You could have been a pot washer for all your life, but then if you've decided that you want to take a step into digital marketing, you've got a mindset for it. Yeah, it's good to see that you've not, done 25 years away for flashing outside of school. That's good to see on your CV. We try and stay away from those, but have a conversation. If I like you, it tends to be a good sign. And then same sort of thing, start as you mean to go on. I say, right, here's a task similar to what you'll be doing. how long do you think it's going to take you to do it? When are you going to get it across to me? And see if they can do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah. Run still, man. You just got to do what it says on the tin, aren't you? Like, I say that all the time to people. I'm like, I'm not special. I'm just a run still, man. And they're like, don't know what you mean. I'm like, well, whatever it says it on the tin, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's how I've got to where I've got in life. I just do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. It's not, it's not rockets.
I think it's a rule to live by. I mean, I made a monumental fuck up not long since where I double booked myself in for my best mate's wedding in another country and for an event. So I ended up managing the event media remotely. But it's one of those things, do what you say you'll do. And I was writing content for the day, templates up at 1 o'clock in the morning before the wedding, whilst everyone around me was absolutely smashed. And it's not oh, look at me. It's that I fucked up, but I had to get it done. And, I wouldn't let somebody down. It's having that sort of work ethic, which I think, does come from the forces background. If you said to somebody, right, be here at 5 a.m. with your rig, with, going up to Dartmoor, and they were out dancing down Jesters at 3 a.m, you know that they're still, well, most of them are going to be there at 5 o'clock, ready to swaying a little bit. It's that, I don't care how you do it or what you do, as long as you deliver, then that's what we want.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point. What are the common mistakes you see from businesses on social media?
They don't know who they're talking to. They think that people give a shit about what they're saying. So they'll be like, this cup's fantastic. It can do this. Yeah. Nobody cares. They don't care about you. Well, they care about a bit. Yeah. But they don't care. They want to know how it's going to benefit them. And every single one I've started off with, they don't know who they're talking to, and they don't know what problem they're going to solve for them. That's probably up there alongside with people, and I hate it, putting offers out all the time and reducing the costs over and over and over again until they can't make a profit. Yeah, they think they need to compete on price, and you're going to end up without your house. So
there's I'll just fucking throw them under the bus. There's a Escape the Lakes, right? I know you've seen it. Yeah. Is like my long-term passion, and it's like an event I've had in the locker for a long time. And then I found a business partner that I can trust, and I was like, "Do you want to go in with me on this? But it's a monster, and it'll consume your life, and it might not work, and we have to charge quite a lot of money, and people might not pay it. We might not have the reputation to run it. There's a million reasons what this, that, and other. But it's an absolute Ferrari of an event if we can get it to go." And we have, and these people were like, any discount? I was like, go walk into Ferrari, right? Go walk into Ferrari and ask them with no rapport or long-term longevity in buying Ferraris and say any discount, and they'll just say that door you just come through, jog yourself back on there, because a lot of people seem to think because they're buying from you that they have the power, and it's you know what I mean. If you believe in your brand and you believe in your product, then the answer's no. And there's too many people now. I'm an influencer. Oh, okay. Let's proof be in the pudding then. Let's see it. You go and get me 20 people, come back to me, and then we'll talk about discounts. But don't tell me you're an influencer, because you're not. And I've tested people on this whole thing, and I don't know at what level an influencer is really an influencer. Like, I definitely haven't seen anyone who's made that much of a difference. Do you know what I mean? When they've been on board.
Well, I think, the people out there who influence the market and buying decisions at all sizes. But if somebody calls himself an influencer, they're automatically a cock, and they need to go take their head for a fucking wash. Get in the bin. But they come through all levels, and part of what I did, which grew the coffee company so much, was I engaged in a micro influencer campaign. Yeah. So rather than go for Billy with 100,000 followers, half of which are across the world and aren't interested in my product, I went for your person who's regularly online, engaging with people that have 700 followers, and is going to be recommending my product to his family, friends, and people in his gym.
Great
because they've got that influence there. One of the companies I'm working with are looking at an influencer campaign, and the first thought was, let's not call it that, let's call it something else, because I hate the word. But again, proof in the pudding, put out the terms to people, and it was commission basis of sales. Because if you can do it. If you tell me that you want to earn £100,000 from this, right, well, I'll work out your commission structure and you go out and sell it, because that's what you're going to do. If you get one sale in, then it's no loss to me. That's how it works. I think that's, if somebody can't do that, if they can't put the money where their mouth is and go out and sell it, then they're no use to anyone.
No, that's a valid point. I've used micro influencers, and I'm very good at sort of getting people on board, and sort of we did it when we replaced the Blencathra stone, some fucking belter, through the old Summit stone off Blencathra last year, and we sort of created a campaign to replace it, and we replaced it with a brand new spanker up there. And I just said to the Instagram hiking community who's coming to this party, who'd like to get involved, who wants to be on board, who wants to be a part of it. It's not the John Beamson show, it's the fucking community show. And I've made some great friends, and people got involved with the story. People were sharing it. People were tagging people in. People came along and volunteered on the day to help carry kit to the top of the summit. People stayed overnight. There's a ways and means, but don't be an influencer. Just be a good human being.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And be genuine. I've got a glass of water here. I've been drinking water the whole time. If all of a sudden I pick up my can of Coke and go, you know what, this drink is fantastic. It's got all these benefits. I've lost weight since I started drinking it. And you can actually get 10% off by using my code. It just suddenly becomes like, just go away. But and this is, I used to do some mentoring and coaching with the micro influencers. I had them as ambassadors, and I would teach them how to talk about products without selling it. Bring it in, have it in the background, have a picture of it when you're doing your brew in the morning, and just make people aware of it subconsciously, so they see it, and then they come to you and they ask the question, what is that coffee you're drinking? And that's where it's there, and it's the interest, and it's a long time, and you can't necessarily measure ROI on stuff like that, but that's what works, that's what grows. And if you're genuine, you're always going to have a much higher success rate.
Fair play. Sean, we're smashing through this, mate, so we're going to sort of go on to the 5 whats. I love this part of the show. So the first one, what's the greatest piece of advice you've been given?
I think, we have covered it a bit, but it was from my dad, and he said, do what you say you'll do, and own it. Early on, he taught me that, and I stuck by it, and it's done me well.
Yeah, that's on brand, that definitely. What's on your bucket list, either personally or business-wise?
I don't know if I have a business bucket list. I can't think of it, but as I mentioned it again earlier as well, here I am repeating myself constantly. I want to go spearfishing one day. I want to do some free diving, and I want to go pick a lobster up or something off the bottom of the sea and bring it over and cook it. So I was listening to Joe Rogan, and there a woman on there talking about it, and I thought, fancy a bit of that.
I want to go. I want to go. I would try bow hunting with Cam Haynes and fucking Joe Rogan, and get hunt stags and eat them and carry them out.
Set your standards high.
Standing weekend with the lads down the fucking field. Third one, this is always a good one. Always sort of get a good reaction. What's been your toughest day?
Mentally wise and overcoming, it was probably I was on test week of the All Arms Commando course, and after being up on final X at Sennybridge, I'd burnt my leg. Moved in and out of the building. Some idiot were boiling his water on the side, and it spilt. Took skin straight off my leg. I was wrapped up in a plastic bag for the exercise, and I came back into camp, and one of the instructors, he was an engineer, who was my section commander, said, I'm gonna take you off the course because you're injured. I don't think you'll be able to complete it. And I said, well, how about you let me try instead, and see how that is. And they all sat there laughing, you know, all the instructors in the office. And I just thought, fuck it, it's a mind game. So I just said to them, well, let me have a try. And they were telling me I was going to fail, and I had to go back and sit in my room and push that aside and think, right, I still need to prep my kit for tomorrow. I still need to get ready to go. Because I was doing the endurance course the next day with a big hole in my leg, and you know, a few days later, I got that green lid.
Fair play. If anyone's ever done a 30 miler before, in the time that these lads do it in, it's fucking extremely accountable. And that's not even carrying the weight that them lads carry. If anyone wants a crack, I'll fucking see you Christmas Day. Right, number 4. What's been your happiest day?
I suppose I'll keep family stuff out of it, because I'll always undoubtedly upset someone in that by not including them.
Yeah.
I reckon at the day I got over myself and realised that what I'm doing is actually valuable to people, and I can do this, what I love, for the rest of my life and make money off it. You know, instead of saying to somebody, oh yeah, I'll give you a free phone call and help you with your business, I turn around and say, yeah, I'll give you an hour's phone call for 300 quid. And, and, you know, they turn around and go, yeah, let's do it. And, you know, they get value from it. I get value from it, and realize that I can make a future using my head.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't ever do free.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I never do free, because free, I say to people, what value does free have? It doesn't make you accountable. It doesn't make me accountable. And at any point in any time, I can just say, wow, well, it's fucking free anyway, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing on it.
Freebies are the worst. You know, if somebody gives you a phone for free, you treat it like shit. You know, you don't value it. I do free 15-minute turbo calls for ex-military who are looking to transition, or business owners. But that's where I draw the line. Because if I give it you for free, you won't implement it. If I make you feel like you've paid out your pocket and you want to make your money back, then you're going to implement it and do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 5th and final one. Did you answer that? Oh yeah, you did. Sorry, got blinded by my own logic. 5th and final one. What's next for the business?
Going to keep growing, keep expanding. We're just moving outside the UK, clients in the US and out in the Middle East. So we're going to keep expanding that side of it for the corporate, but on a smaller scale, looking to implement a small group training for smaller business owners, people just starting out fresh with a lower entry pricing to get them up to the level that they want to be. Class.
Absolutely class. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to talk to Sean. I always love talking to ex-blokes because we're normally on the same wavelength, and I can always tell an eagle when I spot one. And Sean is definitely on that level. Where can people find you if they want to track you down for anything at all?
Check me out on Instagram at Social Commando. I tend to post quite a few memes on my story and put an occasional bit of business advice. You can get me on there, drop me a DM. Or if you're looking for something a bit larger, you can get us info@blackdaggermedia.co.uk, and we can help you out there. Brilliant. Sean, mate, thanks very much for coming on. Sean dropped some absolute truth bombs. If you need to listen back, listen back. Business isn't easy. Neither's life, and if you want to conquer them both, you've got to dig in. You've got to start digging trenches, and that's the way it is. Coming on next week, we've got Graham, who is a guru in the high street. I'm looking forward to speaking to him because he's dropping truth bombs about how the high street needs to change and needs to grow into the current market. Sean, thanks very much for your time, Mucker. I'll catch you soon. All right, cheers, pal. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers.